Okay, everybody, here we go on this just lovely, seriously, Thursday, October 17th, 2019, and it just keeps getting better, or worse, depending on your perspective. And we have so much to talk about. Where to begin? I guess I'll start off with the usual. Stocks finished higher across the board. Nothing major. Higher nonetheless. The dollar took a nice hit today. Cryptocurrencies caught a bid. Metals caught a bid. And I just want to say this. I feel bad for Rick Santelli on CNBC. Rick Santelli is a good guy, for the most part, in my view at least. And he realizes that his job has become obsolete. I mean, he does the bond market report on CNBC. The bond market has no bearing on reality anymore. With the repo scam, the suppression of interest rates, the buying of debt across the board, the rigging of the debt market. Meanwhile, the poor guy is put out there like a prop to try to make heads or tails of what's going on in the bond market. Rick, we all know the truth, buddy. If I were you, Rick, I would quit while you're ahead here because you're starting to look like a shill. There's no way you, me, or anybody can follow the debt market anymore with the current action of the Federal Reserve rigging the debt market upside down, backwards, and sideways. You know this is true, Rick. You know this better than anybody else. Resign. Quit while you're ahead unless you have to hold on for contract for money or whatever it might be. I'd quit anyway. No amount of money is enough to be a shill in this environment. I would rather be destitute living in the street. That's the truth. All right, here's the deal with the economy. So remember what happened yesterday. We got an abysmal retail sales number. Understand? Retail sales, consumer spending drives the U.S. economy. Well, today, we got two more rounds of bad economic news. Factory activity, manufacturing continues to fall off a cliff. Our country is in dire shape. Again, just when was the last time you can remember? I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Let's see how honest you can be. When was the last time you heard one single piece of good economic news? Zero. There hasn't been any. And as far back as this guy can remember, and I follow this stuff all the time. It's pretty insane. Now, let's move forward. You remember the disappearance of Larry Kudlow? What happened? Why did Larry Kudlow disappear? He's now come back. But Larry Kudlow publicly went against the president, saying that negative rates were bad for America, bad for the country, and the guy vanished. He was gone. This happens all the time. It's a repetitive pattern. Whenever a member of the president's advisory team says something contrary to the president, they disappear until what they say falls out of the American psyche. People can't remember things. They have a very hard time remembering anything in this country because, again, you're so distracted. You're being thrown this way and that way, being kept off balance. It's all done by design. Now, today, Larry Kudlow came out and he explained how the deep state Fed is not cutting rates fast enough. Now, we all know who the real deep state is. It has nothing to do with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is already pumping more easy money into this market than they have since the financial crisis. They're artificially suppressing rates, the repo scam going on, and everything else connected to it. Not a word mentioned from Larry Kudlow today. Not a word mentioned from the President of the United States. Now understand, those people who have been programmed are going to buy into it. They have no choice. They must comply. They have reached that level of zombies, okay? They must comply. They hear Larry Kudlow in one sentence mention Federal Reserve, deep state, trigger goes off, and that's it. That's how it works, just like the Manchurian Candidate. But the fact of the matter is, neither Larry Kudlow nor the President of the United States has yet to come forward and explain to the American people how rate cuts are going to help them. Sure, rate cuts are great for the banks, the military-industrial complex itself at its core. The banks can then borrow cash from the Fed for zero or get paid to do it if we go negative, and then they lend that cash out to the masses at exorbitant fees and exorbitant rates. The real deep state is Larry Kudlow and the President of the United States. Now, I understand that some of you are blowing your stack off. Tell me where I am wrong. What I think most people don't understand, if you look at the population of the United States and Europe alone, it's over 1 billion people. In the United States and Europe, these people are, all of us, are being robbed blind. It's grand theft on an unimaginable scale. People are being forced to subsidize everything by being robbed blind via suppressed rates and negative rates. Now, Larry Kudlow, parroting the president, saying Fed is behind the curve, needs to lower rates, but has not explained at all how it will help the American people. Again, please keep politics out of this. I am not bashing the president. I'm telling you the way that it is. If you can't see that, again, you're one of those who have been programmed, you're a Manchurian Candidate. You immediately go one way. You have no choice. Some of you cannot help yourselves. I understand that. Believe me, this is the way it has been going on for quite a long time. But if you can put that aside a little bit, let a little light through, you're going to say, wow, Greg is absolutely right. How has suppressed rates helped the average guy and the average girl? Yes, it has pushed enormous cash into the stock market. If you own stock, you're doing pretty well right now, but I guarantee you, you're not smart enough, unless you did it today, to close your accounts before the moment where the plug is deliberately pulled. Look at history. And again, this will prove my point. The government in power at that time, being ruled by their overlords, the banks, they are serial bubble blowers. They blow bubbles, they deflate bubbles. They blow bubbles, they deflate bubbles. The general population invariably gets destroyed when the bubbles burst. And it's done by design every single time. Right now, with what the Fed is doing, creates an environment of risk. Rate cuts are coming. So I don't even know why Larry Kudlow was pulled out today to explain that the Fed is behind the curve and needs to cut rates. Rate cuts are coming. Deep ones. There's no doubt about it. But Larry Kudlow was put out here maybe to try to redeem himself after he contradicted the president. You cannot go against the ruler at this particular time. Many people in this country want a king. They want to be ruled by a king. They don't want a republic or whatever illusion is being thrown at them. The fact of the matter is, we are being ruled by the banks. They dictate the rules. We live by them, period, the end. And to see what happened today makes me realize that they really do have a large faction of the people who have been literally brainwashed. Deep state Fed, boom, they go off. They can't think. They're blind. They get blinded right there. But they're not being told again, and most of them don't even care. That's how bad the brainwashing and the programming is. They don't say, well, hold on a minute. How are lower rates going to help me? How is dollar devaluation going to help me? I'm not earning anything on my interest earning accounts. In fact, I'm being robbed blind because the interest being paid on my interest earning accounts is less than the rate of inflation. Like I explained to you, 1 billion people at least right now between the United States and Europe are being robbed blind to support the markets. And the wealth is being pushed to the upper end of society, into the pockets of the CEOs, the military-industrial complex. That's it. And the plan is very simple, and it's working perfectly. It just could not be better. This environment is tailor-made, and has been tailor-made. It's been many decades in the works for this to happen. Do you think 1 billion people, the boiling frog syndrome, this would happen overnight? No, this is a multi-decade issue. 1 billion people, if they were told right now that they were going to be robbed blind in the blink of an eye, you'd hear an uproar. If it's done in a very slow, methodical fashion, you can do anything. And that's what they have done. Again, just with the population of the United States and Europe, over 1 billion people are now fully the boiling frog. They have become the boiling frog, soon to all float to the top dead. Again, because you're going to be robbed worse than you're being robbed already. Lower rates are coming. Negative rates are more than likely coming. You're already, again, if you base what you're earning on your interest earning accounts versus the rate of inflation, it's already in the negative. Okay. Rick Santelli knows this is true, and he has to pull his charade on CNBC. I really feel bad for the man. I think I study the bond market as hard as he does, and I can tell you, and I know most of you feel the same way. You cannot make heads or tails of it anymore. I don't care what the yield curve looks like. It doesn't matter. If the Fed is rigging every part of the curve, from the short end to the long end now, how is it real? And I explained to you in like a week or two ago, this action of normalizing the curve while keeping the illusion real will push capital into the U.S. markets. And again, you can get round after round after round of bad economic news. Just the last 2 days, let's talk about that. Again, yesterday, retail sales falling off a cliff. Today, factory activity, manufacturing falling off a cliff. Housing starts falling off a cliff. There's another one for you. Doesn't matter. As long as the stock market is where it is, people go, hold on a minute. Where's the meltdown? Where's the collapse? It's the boiling frog. Okay, these people who are saying that are the boiling frogs themselves. And they can't see it. They don't see it. 1 billion people right now, 1 billion of them, I hope it's not you, don't realize what's going on to them. It's an incredible thing to see this, to witness what's going on here, and to hear the propaganda ministry. Again, Larry Kudlow has been pulled out. Put forth the message, Larry. The Fed's the deep state. Meanwhile, he is the deep state. The president is supporting the military-industrial complex at the cost of the entire population of the United States. Candidate Trump had it right. Candidate Trump laid all of this out for us during the campaign. He explained what the Federal Reserve was doing. He explained that the stock market was a big, fat, ugly bubble. It's gone. It's all gone. The guy now has turned and is 100% for the military-industrial complex. The deep state does not exist the way it's being told by Larry Kudlow today. Again, it's the same tactic. Shift the blame. Shift the blame. You understand? This should be very obvious to you. And again, unless you are extremely polarized, and you're the Manchurian candidate that gets triggered, if you're one of those, you cannot see. You've been blinded. Most people, I think, are going to fall somewhere in the middle. And you can always tell that the people who follow my blog have a few functioning brain cells. Look at the amount of thumbs up to thumbs down. I mean, I'm consistently over 90%. You can see that. And I am very proud to say I have done a lot of work to try to weed out the Manchurian candidates, those that trigger, and to just try to make this blog full of people who can think, who can understand, who aren't stuck in the two-party paradigm. It doesn't matter. The two-party paradigm is a charade to keep you off balance. But you can see it as clear can be if you just put these things into perspective. All right, look, awfully long video. Have I covered anything here that's important? If I have, please share the video. Give me a thumbs up. It makes me feel good. Let's see how many thumbs up we can get. Let's see the ratio today, this video. Thumbs up to thumbs down. Again, watch. It'll be over 90%, maybe even 95% or above. It's all up to you. I love you. That's the truth. See you in the morning.